This room is so fucking quiet. What's up, everybody? I was just gonna tie a jig quick and then we will do something fun afterwards. I'll probably run out of thread on this jig and I'll switch to another bobbin. So I haven't done a video since like October 2002 or 2022. That's how long it's been since I went live on Instagram. This is going to be a fox jig. It's a non-weedless football head. It's an 1/8 ounce. Yep, I ran out of thread. And I'm gonna put fox fur on here. Olive fox fur. So locally, I'm not able to find Vivus 150. So I've been using Vivus 200 lately. And it's kind of taught me how to use my wraps very sparingly. And I like it actually. I could tie like 3 30-second marabou with 200. You just have to be very, very careful with how many wraps you use. Be careful how you put this thing in here. How are you guys doing? So basically, I haven't streamed in like 2 years. I was looking back at like my old streams and I honestly didn't look healthy in a lot of them. But anyways, like it's been 2 years since I've done anything live. So I figured I'd do something cool tonight. It might take like an hour and a half to do that, but it's gonna be giveaways basically. After the stream, there'll be 3 winners, 2 giveaways, 3 different giveaways. But I'll show you the details after this. I wanted to do something cool. So this is basically like a Zonker strip with like fox fur on it. I'm using that for this jig. And I actually might use this too. This is black and blue fox. This is from this big ass tail that I bought. I don't even know. Maybe 2 years ago I bought this. But it's like super, super soft. I mean, different parts of it have blue in it. Some of it has mostly black in it. But you just kind of have to find the right areas. Christina Vince. I see John in here. How are you guys doing? I'm just gonna keep you guys waiting. I'm taking forever on this thing. I'm gonna do the bottom half dark olive. I'm gonna do the top black, I think. So with like the 200 size thread, I don't do a lot of wraps. So you have to be like thoughtful with every wrap you do. So with fox, you can usually, I would like brush out the bottom and keep like all the thin hairs, but I keep like that under fur in there just because it like bulks the jig up a little bit. And it's also like harder to tie with the bulky part, but it's not that hard. So this This jig will be part of one of the giveaways, and I'll show you. I'll explain to you what the hell I'm doing in a second. So I could put flash in here. I might put black flash in here, because that's just kind of what my mind wants. So this has a 2-aught Mustad sickle hook in it. I tried to get rid of all my Victory hooks for myself to use, because I don't really feel the greatest selling jigs with Victory hooks in them. So 2 strands of this crystal flash doubled up. I'm actually gonna cut that in half. So I'm gonna have 4 strands on each side, but I'm gonna double it up. It might look obnoxious with 8 strands, but keep it. So the flash is gonna kind of separate the black and the green. And I like the length of that. Usually don't do it like this, but so this jig's basically done. I just have to put Sally Hansen on it. So this jig I'm gonna give away tonight. Depending on like how the stream goes will determine how long the stream is and determine how much I feel like giving away, but it's gonna be a big giveaway stream today. There will be rules. Can you guys hear me okay? So anyways, here is an 1/8 ounce football head, non-weedless, with fox fur and a bait keeper and a 2-aught sickle hook on it. Pretty cool. So this is gonna go into a box that I'm gonna give away at the end of this. But the cool thing is we're gonna make a box of jigs to give away, and I'm hoping it'll be around like the $50 value range. But what am I gonna put in the box will be determined by the wheel. So I got this wheel, literally got it yesterday. So there's 2 red ones. One of the red ones is you get a free merch code. So you basically can get a free t-shirt or hoodie from the website. So the red ones are going to be 1 winner each, and the winner will be decided by picking number 1 through 10 as right after I land on one. The other one is just going to be a $25 mystery box separate from everything that gets made today. So like the hotter, red is the hottest. Yellow, you're gonna get a 1 of 1 jig, which to me is something that has never been made before with something crazy in it. And this is a crawhair jig that you kind of know that I make, but they take a little longer to make. So I made the yellow. You get a bladed jig if we hit green, or you get a hybrid jig. And I made a couple of them too that I'm probably gonna throw in the box. But the basic ones are marabou jig, a screw lock, swim bait head. I'll probably throw like 3 of them in there. But I'm not going to be making the screw lock heads, and I'm not going to be making the Ned heads on stream. They'll just be pre-made already. So if I land on one of these, it's going to be real quick. And then, what does this say? Bucktail. So this is a pretty quick, easy one too. This is a bucktail jig. So, someone's gonna win the mystery box. Someone's gonna win a merch code. and then someone at the end of the stream will win everything that I land on today in a box. So that's the plan. That is the plan. A couple things I made. I've been doing orders, but I've been really quiet with like posting anything. So this is just I made this 2 days ago. So this is like a crosshair jig that you guys typically see on my channel, but I like everything about it except that I put that tan fur in the middle. But yeah, black and blue head, and it's got the weed guards with like the epoxy on the tips, so it doesn't like stab the fish, and it just glides. Pretty nice. That's like my favorite color zonker is the dark olive. But it's olive, purple, black and blue, green pumpkin with some blue bucktail in there. And this looks like it is a 1/4 ounce. That's a pretty solid jig. I'll throw that in the box. This will be in the box. This fox fur jig will be in the box. And these are some hybrid jigs that I made recently. This one, I had a red head, and I thought the only thing to make a jig with a red head was just to go with like green pumpkin. But yeah, it's a green pumpkin redhead hybrid. So it has olive bucktail and brown bucktail in it with like finesse cut green pumpkin flash in it. And it's weedless. I epoxied the top of the weed guards. Probably not the best focus, but it's pretty legit. This one doesn't have a bait keeper, but I didn't tie on the molded part, so you can use the molded bait keeper on there. Solid. So this one's basically the same thing that I just showed you, except different colorway. So this is like the matte green pumpkin with chartreuse bucktail, olive bucktail, green pumpkin, finesse cut, and it has the weed guard and the epoxy tips on the weed guard, if anyone really thinks that matters. But so they all have like 90-degree 2-aught Mustad sickle hooks in them. So we have 4 jigs already in the giveaway. I also have a rattle that I think would be cool. I just thought of this like 5 minutes ago. If I super glued this rattle to like a piece of leather and just tied the leather to a jig and have the what do you call this thing? The rattle like swinging with it, but like hidden, that'd be kind of cool. I don't think I've ever thought of that or made that before. And I do have a bunch of stuff that I think would be interesting to make jigs with, which would be like if we landed on the 1 of 1. I have this fettuccine foam, black fettuccine foam that I've had for like, I don't know, 6 months. I bought it after I saw it because I've never seen it before. But I feel like we can make legs or something on a craw with this. Try to go like real fancy with it. And I did buy some of this. This is super cheap. It's supposed to be rabbit zonker, but look how much you get for $6. It's kind of weird. So I'm wondering more of like the quality of that, like how good the quality is. Because same brand, Fulling Mill is the brand. Never heard of it. But the prices were cheap. And I bought some black marabou, and this has like a sticker that says it's premium on it. So I'm like, hell yeah, let's buy it. And I noticed it's definitely not as good as Hairline Select, but it's all right. It's typically shorter, and it feels drier. At least this bag that I bought feels drier than like my Hairline typically is. That probably doesn't make sense to anybody, but I tried it out. It's okay, but it's not like super premium. It's not better than Hairline or anything. But this I bought at the hell's it called? Thorn Brothers, the fly angler. They have like a fly tying section upstairs. But $5 for this pack is a pretty good deal, but it's not the best. I typically like having the best. And I don't even know what this is, but I got this November 18th, 2023, and I haven't even opened it yet. Dedication. But yeah, I could open this up now just to see what it is, and then we'll spin the wheel so we can get started on like actually making stuff, because I might have to spin the wheel a few times in order to like make a box up. Oh, this is kind of crazy. Where did I order this from? Dakota Engler. The hell was I thinking when I bought this? Microflex Soft Hackle Chenille. So this is like, I always said I was gonna like post a video and do challenges. This is kind of why I wanted to. So I bought dark brown, Sculpin olive, dark olive, and black. And it's like this, I'll get the lighter one. It's chenille, but it's like soft and feathery looking. Kind of weird. It's called Microflex Soft Hackle Chenille, extra large. So I got 4 of those bags. Curious what they look like. So it looks like, honestly, like artificial football turf. And it's not feathery, it's very stringy, weird. Like, what is this? So it's like chenille, but you have to find the end of it. There we go. So I can make a jig out of this. And I feel like the best way would probably to be wrapping it. We should probably do one of these. I'm gonna do one of these. I don't care. We're gonna tie one of these for sure. But it's kind of thick and long too, so like it's different from like having, I don't even know the terminology of like fly tying anymore. It's been so long, but like having like making rabbit dubbing loop, that's what I'm trying to say. So this would be a lot thicker than a dubbing loop. So you might have to be like kind of careful with it so you don't like have a big puff ball. But yeah, we should make one of these. And it's like super shiny, so even black would be shiny on here. Yeah. So like instead of having like a rabbit dubbing body on this, just have the chenille on it. Like these are cool jigs, but the body on here, like you're not gonna really see the body very well unless you're like staring at it. But a fish isn't gonna do that. Like I have the colors, I have like 5 different colors blended in the body, so it looks really nice, but like no one's ever gonna like see that. Fish would just react to it more than like stare at it before they bite it. But anyways, so I also have a bunch of like just painted heads that aren't tied on, so I have like a bunch of them. I have enough to do like 3 bladed jigs, let's say I land on that. So like this mystery box could be like really cool. Like I could hit like this like 10 times if I really spun it, or I could make like 10 marabou jigs to go in a box. Like I have no idea. But yeah, stuff floating. So yeah, that is some kind of weird stuff that I bought. This is like 6 months plus. This is Stretch Flex 1/4 inch width Stretch Flex. Like I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do with that. I'd honestly probably cut it in half so it's thinner, but this is like fly tying stuff that, yeah, I'm good. I also have this black foam I could cut stuff out of if I really wanted to. But yeah. So a couple of weird, I have this new Zonker stuff I kind of want to open. This fettuccine freaking noodle black stuff, like that. I kind of want to throw that on a jig tonight too. But I'm going to open this. This is the last thing I do before I spin the wheel. I'm going to open this bag, see what the fuss is about. This Zonker. If this is like 6 strips of Zonker, that would be an insane deal. But I have a feeling the Zonker leather hide is very thin on these. That's why it's so cheap. And for different colors of Zonkers, the quality is like, it changes. Like, if I buy dark olive Zonker, like the leather is always the same. And black is nice as well. Like, black is a good color to have for Zonkers, but they're not always thick enough. So this is Rabbit Zonkers from Fulling Mill for $6. I got this whole strip for $6. And you'd think it's a really good deal. And honestly, they don't look bad. But they are, like I said, on the thinner side of things. Like, the hide is pretty thin. So you get better movement, I guess, from it, but it's not bad. It's a really good deal, actually. They don't look like shit, so that's good. And the hair on them is, like, consistent and not, like, yeah. That's actually a pretty good deal. They're just thinner than I typically like. Fucking Jabberjaws. So this is, like, my favorite color and thickness of a jig, of a Zonker. And this is, like, what they have. So it's pretty damn close, but if you're like touching it, this hide on the black is way thinner. But like the length of the hair is like really good. And like the cut is straight. Nerds. But yeah, I have a ton of Zonker colors. I have a ton of silicone colors. I don't even think I have silicone jigs on this wheel, but there's hybrid jigs on there. So I organized my stuff as like natural silicone, like loud silicone, and then like blacks and browns and greens. Same thing with Zonkers, the same thing. Same thing with dubbing. I have like bright color dubbing, natural dubbing. Same with bucktail. I have natural bucktail, loud colored bucktail. Then I have like the deer hair, then the bucktail part. A lot of flash, crystal flash, feathers, like furs and stuff like that I've never used. I have a lot of like round rubber, and yeah, it's actually kind of bad how much I have. But yeah, we'll spin the wheel. Right now we have four jigs that are going into the box. So if you just joined, at the end of the stream, we'll give away the box of everything I make tonight, excluding the 2 reds, which will be individual winners. So let's see what we can do. So, if you're in the chat, which I don't think there's a lot of you here, I'm thinking of a number 1 through 10, and if you can guess that number, I'll send you a code to get free merch. But until then, we'll spin it again. So, a pack of net heads. Not yet, guys. Once someone guesses it, there could only be 8 more guesses. But I'm gonna have to like write down what needs to go in here, so I know. But like right now, it's already like probably like a $25 value. And assuming like we hit both reds, and we hit both reds and do the giveaway at the end, it'll be close to around like $100 value of just random stuff to give away. It's gonna be one of you two. I'll let you know. So the net heads I'm not gonna make. I already pre-made a bunch of net heads that are not painted, and I painted some too, but you're probably gonna get 3 in the giveaway. You guys are gonna like have the last number left. Okay, I'll take a hybrid jig. We'll do a hybrid jig next. So it is a hybrid jig, so it kind of limits the possibilities, but I could put it on an arky head or a football head. a non-weedless football head, and I have different colors. But I'm gonna actually take this root beer colored one and start with this. It's like the only number, unless I missed it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You guys picked 8 numbers, and it's one of the 2 that never got said. So I am drilling out the weed guard hole with the hand driver bit. 1/8 hole. So this cleans out like all the, there you go, it's 8. 8 is what I was thinking about. So, Joel, you win a hoodie or t-shirt. Pretty sure that's all I sell. But I'll give you a code. So you can just order what you want. You can order what you want on the site, and it should come out to like $0, and yeah. So like as I tie these two, I could, I don't know, maybe give out hints and stuff. I also have to like write your name down too. So I also do like DJing and stuff on Twitch, and I was thinking about using this wheel on there too. Joel Muscatello, congrats, you win. Oh, I have to write. We could like take the red part off. Interesting concept. So this one does have a heavier hook in it. So it looks like it's a 1/4 ounce, and it has like a heavy 2/0 hook in it. So I think for a hybrid jig, it'll be nice. And since it's a hybrid jig, I'm gonna tie a bait keeper on it. I typically tie a bait keeper on everything, unless it's like a crawhair jig, I won't. So don't need a lot of wraps. I don't know what that was. I saw the light go out. I think my light died. All right. We're at 37%. We should be good. So I just take like a thumb width amount of 30-pound mono, and I fold that in half. And that gives me like a perfect amount to tie in the shank when it's folded in half. It gives you like a perfect amount to cut off, and a perfect amount to lay on the shank to where you're not like going too far out or have to cut it. Like I don't have to cut this. I've done it like 100 times. So now it's like laying flat. I'm gonna stick it up. So it's between like 90 degrees and like 70 degrees. So if you wanted to put plastic on it, you could for weight. Or if you wanted to put like a craw plastic on there. And then I try to even it out so there's no humps in the thread. Then I move on, next section, and then I'll Sally Hansen it. Even though like it doesn't really need Sally Hansen on there. I don't think, at least. Like it's not gonna wear down. I don't expect any of these jigs to be like jigs you'd use for like 5 years or anything, or like 2 years even. That's like the cool thing. Like if you lose a jig, it's like big deal. It's like $5. So now I have the angle to where I want. You probably can't see it, but it's sticking straight up. And you just cut that loop off, or like cut the tip of the loop, and it leaves 2 stiff mono pieces out. And then I just splay them out with my hand. We're good. So if this is going to be a hybrid jig, it's going to have bucktail likely, or marabou. But I'm not going to use the middle section. I'm just going to tie on this section next to the head. And like this half of it is going to be bucktail, and this half of it, it's going to be silicone. But we'll see. I could change my mind like in the middle of it. But I picked, I don't know what this color is. I picked the root beer color. It's kind of like a purple color. And I think it would look good with like brown and tan. So we're gonna use like a brown or a tan colored bucktail for it. And this is a good color. So I always have bucktail, like pieces of bucktail, then I have the deer belly body hair version. So this is gonna lay more, and this is gonna splay out more when you snug it down. But we're gonna use this for now. Wish I had like a lighter brown, but it is what it is. So sometimes I'll take the longer tips and pull them out and then line them back up. And I could do that like 2 or 3 times if I really care. But I never want the tips to be like exactly straight because it just looks, I don't know. I don't want it to look square. So I just cut the tip of this off because I know the length that I want. And I'll just tie in a couple wraps that aren't like super snug, so that way I could just push down on it and it spreads out. So like that little pinch, I could spread around this whole jig. So I just covered the entire 360 of the jig. So now I can pull and snug. Kate, how's it going? And I don't even know the terminology of the knot that I do, but I'll knot it down so that this doesn't rotate and spin while I'm doing the rest of it. Like right now it's locked in. And when you spread it around, it thins it out as well. So it's not like just thick brown going around. It's very like sparse. I don't know, it looks pretty good. You'll have to take my word. So then I will move on to the silicone part. So then we'll just have to think of like what would look good on this. And I think brown, like a light brown or a brown would look good. So then I have a whole Tupperware cabinet thing full of brown. So this is called Burnt Pumpkin. It is like a light pumpkin brown with black flake in it. I'm cool with that. And then I could also do like another color if I wanted, which honestly I might try this. This is green pumpkin with orange flake in it. So we're gonna do these 2 colors. And we'll take half of a tab of each. Maybe. Or we can just put both. I'm gonna take 2/3 of the green. I'm gonna put that on bottom actually. Because like even though it's on the bottom, it's gonna come up the sides and you're gonna see it. But it doesn't matter really. This could honestly cover the entire jig, and I think I'm gonna do that with it. So like the plans that you have, like I just had, like putting this on just changed like as I thought of putting it on. So it's gonna be covered completely with the green. And then I think there's less of the light pumpkin color, and I'll spread that around over the top of it. And I'm looking for a clip to just get the stuff out of the way. So I'm left with this, which I could also clip out of the way. So I'm not tying into it. So I have like 2/3 of this pumpkin stuff. I'm actually gonna rip this in half just so I can put one on top and one on bottom. It's gonna look good. So I could just lightly tie it in. It doesn't even matter what it looks like. And then I can move the stuff around to kind of spread it out so it's spread across the top half of everything. And like that's fine, good enough. So now I could combine that pumpkin with this clip. And with this clip. Just so I can get the other 1/4 of silicone on. tie it in lightly and then spread out color on the jig. So I'm cool with that. Sweet. So I'm gonna snug it down and knot it. And I think I couldn't get crazy and put like copper flash in it, which I probably will do. So with the copper flash, I'm gonna put on the top, but it's gonna be on like 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock on it, because that's gonna be the side that's gonna be facing up exposed. So I'm just gonna take one strand of it though and cut this in half. Yup. So I cut this in half. I have 2 strands. Just tie it in. Don't even think, just tie it in. A couple of wraps. Now I could take one of them and just move it to the other side. And boom. So they're in the positions I want. I like it. So I'm just gonna pull tight and I'm gonna knot it down. And like I could clip these because they're kind of like in the way, but I'll just deal with it. So I'm cool with that. I'm gonna cut the thread. I'm going to clip this flash out of the way so I can put Sally Hansen on this thread. Like I said, if I make jigs for myself, like I don't even put Sally Hansen on here. It's not something like I plan on using for like a year. Like it's not a big deal for me. I'm gonna lose it by the time the thread breaks down, I feel, so. Maybe it's just good practice to use Sally Hansen, I don't know. I don't think I've ever fished a jig and was like, oh, the thread gave out and it came undone. Like I've never had that happen to me ever. So this is gonna be Weensy. What's up, dude? Haven't talked to you in a long time. So for this side of the silicone, I'm gonna just do 2 layers of it, 2 different lengths. And I'm gonna do some of it like where the hook point is, and then a little bit past the hook bend, I'm gonna do a little bit of it. I'm gonna say that's fine. So it looks like there's a lot of silicone in here, but I'm gonna thin out the front half of it. I also I haven't been posting a lot, but I have been tying, like I still tie like every week. So for the flash, I'm gonna go as long as like the bucktail is, and I'm gonna cut it. You don't ever want to like pull on it when you cut it, because then it will like curl up your flash and it messes it up. It looks stupid. But anyways, that looks cool. And for the front side, I'm gonna thin out a lot of I'm gonna make a lot of short strand in the front. Like close to the head on the top and the bottom. I'm gonna do a bunch of short strands. So that took out like a third of what I had. So now I'm gonna take probably a half of what's left and go a little bit past that. So these strands are gonna just stick straight, like straight out. They're not gonna lay at all, basically. Gives it like depth, I guess. And then the rest of this, I could either just cut them all long, or I could just keep doing more layers. So I'm gonna do a little bit more layers than the rest. I could cut to length, but I usually, for like the longest length, I'll show you. I'll lay it down to like where I would want it if it was laying. So I'd probably go the length of the bucktail and then cut it where the length of the bucktail ends. Like if it was laying like this, I take like a 1/4 inch off of that. it's never gonna lay down like flat ever, I feel. At least if I'm gonna fish this, I'm gonna fish it slow and hop it around. So it's always gonna be like, the tips of the silicone's always gonna be like before the tip of the bucktail will be, like just in the water naturally. So this one is not completely done yet because I have to epoxy in wire weed guards, and that takes some time. But this will be part of the giveaway. So it's got some sparse brown bucktail in there. Then it's got finesse, pumpkin, and green pumpkin, orange flash in it. And then the head color is root beer. And it's a heavy 2-aught. Pretty cool. So I'll have to set this to the side so I could put weed guards in it, but it's pretty good start. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 jigs so far. And someone won a hoodie or a t-shirt, whatever. So we're just gonna keep spinning until we, I guess, run out of money. I don't know. Here we go, run out of time. We might do like an hour and a half to see like how that goes, but we'll see. Also, like if I hit anything green or blue or yellow, I'll have to redo it. Like I'll do it again if I hit it again. Like if I hit a hybrid jig again, it looks like I'm gonna make another hybrid jig. The 1 of 1 jig. All right. So what the hell are we gonna do with this? I have an idea, and I'm gonna play it safe. And I'm gonna take, this is a 1/4 ounce football head that is gonna be weedless. It has a 90-degree 3-aught owner hook in it. So it's painted copperhead color, like brown with green flake. So the reason why I picked this, because it has a long shank and it has a room for me to do stuff on it. So that will be kind of a safe choice for this style. And I don't even know what the hell I'm gonna do, but I have kind of an idea of what I wanna do. So I have this fettuccine. I could do, I'm thinking right away, I can make legs with this. Maybe like 3 on each side of the jig sticking out maybe. And then I still have this really goofy chenille, this micro flex. So this is like stretchy grass turf material that I could do for a body. But I don't know. And if I'm using black, I could just go this, and I could go this. Just go black and black on there. If I do that, but at the same time, this looks kind of cool, just like a half second ago looking at it. It's dark brown, because I have brown already. Yep, we'll do brown. But first, typically, so this is gonna be probably in the craw hairstyle jig that I do. So I could kind of just show you what the hell I do for that. I put the thread on and get to the shank, and then I tie in either deer body or bucktail hair. But I'm gonna put the deer body hair in because it's gonna splay out and it's gonna cover the hook, and it's not gonna lay like past the hook a lot. Because if I have 2 zonkered claws on it, I don't want the claws to be like the same length as like bucktail that's in between them. I'd rather have what's in between them splaying out, like possibly spreading the legs out a little bit. So we're gonna go back to olive would look cool too, but we'll do brown body here. So since this is going on the shank, I don't really need a lot to cover like the whole, I guess, diameter of the shank or the circumference of the shank. So this has a bunch of like underfur in it, so I'm gonna comb it out just because I don't like having all that underfur just laying everywhere, because it's like dust almost. It's like the same density as dust. It just floats around and like gets tied in. So I'm going to go a little bit past the hook barb and it's going to splay it out. So it's actually going to be shorter and it's going to hide the hook, I feel. That's the idea at least. So just snug it in and then just spread it out with your fingers. And I'm like covering the entire shank right now. Like around the whole shank is covered. So we have our first layer of the deer body here. And I'm just gonna put a knot in it so it doesn't rotate. And yeah, so I might have made it a little longer than I wanted, but that's fine. It might be better. So what I typically do next is very weird, and I don't think anyone does this. But I'll take a chunk of chenille like this and just cut it. It doesn't even matter what color. Could be like hot pink for all I care. And I'll tie this in. So I'm basically making this the tip of this, like the beginning of the shank out of the mold thicker. And then I'm actually gonna make it level with the barb on the mold. And it's not gonna be exact, but it's gonna help later. I'll tell you why. I'm gonna make this middle section thicker with the chenille. Now I'm gonna make the very end of the first section a little thicker with the chenille. And I'll leave this half of the first section kind of blank. And that's gonna give me a lot of room to put whatever I want there. And typically up next to the head is where you have the most material, as far as like silicone and whatnot. So now I just like bulked up my tying, like whatever I'm tying on is bulked up now. Even like where my shank was, it's thick there. So I'm going to pick a different, either brown again or a different color, the same like deer body here. This is too light, I feel, so I'm not gonna use that. So I'm thinking olive or brown again. Here's like, I don't know. I'll just use this. It's like tan. I'll just use this. It gets tan. It's tan and then it gets darker towards the tip. But I'm gonna actually shorten it, so I'm gonna be cutting off a lot of the white anyways. So I'm going to choose this color, and I'll show you why. Trying to get a good section of it. So this hair is like naturally curling. It's not gonna do that once you get it wet. So it might look goofy when it's dry. So the same thing with this. I'm gonna use that, it like looks curved. I'm gonna use that underbrush comb and brush out all that like really thin hair, and just check that my tips are all relatively close. And there's some longer ones there. So I change the length of the longer ones to meet the shorter ones. So I'm probably gonna cut it there, and I'm gonna have all this white gone. So I don't really have to worry about that like contrast of that. And I'm gonna tie it right behind the previous bucktail, but this time it's gonna be on that like thicker chenille. And that's nice too, because if you're tying with deer body or something, like you can just cut the hair with your thread. If it was on the shank, it's easier to do that. But so I'm on the chenille. I don't know, you probably can't see it very well. But now, almost time for the claws, but before I do the claws, I actually do another section of deer body hair. And this is going to, because if I don't do that, my claws are gonna probably lay flatter with the shank, and I want them to spread out as much as they can. So sometimes I'll just do like on each side, like 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, I'll put a chunk of deer belly hair there, and that'll let my zonkers spread out when it reaches that. So I'm going to do that now, and I don't even have to put it on the top because I typically put something else on the top. And on the bottom, see how it's all spread out evenly? On the bottom, I'm going to put bucktail there, just regular bucktail, so it lays flat there. So yeah, a lot of thought. We'll put some, but I've done it so many times I don't really like think about it that much. So we're just gonna put regular brown bucktail that's flat on the bottom. So it's really nice to have this section bulked up as much as you can. And this is like around where the molded Baitkeeper is. So like bulk it up so that when the zonkers get tied in, they go around it. I got a big chunk here. Big chunk. So I'm cool with that, whatever. I typically make it either the same or shorter than the rest of the bucktail and the deer belly hair or body hair, whatever you want to say. So my jig could snap out of the vise at any second too, because it's like rotating. So just gotta be careful. So the bottom, I have a flat piece of hair on it. The top is going to be likely rabbit zonker, like a chunk of rabbit zonker. And that I typically do just to have a contrast color in there. Like this, I don't like what I did here, but this tan color is like an accent color I have in this. So it's gonna be something similar to that. And if I plan on using this dark brown chenille and these black fettuccine legs, I typically want a color similar to those to do that, but it could be like a hotspot color too. Like I could do purple or something. Like I might do purple for that. Purple or orange. Maybe orange would look better. Or like a rusty color would look better. I'll use this brown color. I'll show you what I do for it. So probably like a finger width worth of hide you cut off. You're left with just a piece. And I tie that like right over the molded keeper. And that's gonna give you, I don't know, just a different color, a different type of hair, and it's covering the hook a little bit too. It's just the way. So that's in there too. You probably can't see it very well. So now I want to do 2 chunks of deer hair on each side of this, and then I can get to the chenille and somehow get the fettuccine legs in there somehow. That'll be the challenge. And for like the side bucktail, most of it's going to be hidden, so it doesn't really matter what color you use. I'm actually going to use like this yellowish color because I just like the length of it. Guitar OD, I saw you joined. I remember you. How's it going? Been probably a couple of years. So I could underbrush this, but I'm just gonna cut that chunk off. Most of this is not gonna be seen, and I want to tie it in, and I really don't want to spread it around at all. I just want to keep it in one spot. Can't really see that. I'm gonna do the same on the other side. And I think it's working out so far. And I'll just have to think of like how the heck I'm gonna put the chenille on there. So I just match the length with the other side. Tie this in. Yep. Looks pretty crazy so far, but yeah. You have two kinds of bucktail on there. You have the zonker, and you have each side with deer belly hair. We haven't even gotten past the molded barb yet. And this thing is like packed with stuff already. So I'm gonna knot it up. I'm actually gonna put the zonkers down before I put the chenille on. So far I'm feeling okay about it. There's a lot of areas where I can ruin this jig, like as I keep going, but we won't. So I'm thinking this dark brown would look good. Dark brown and dark brown. So I get the length that I like, cut the hide, take that, match it with another side, so I have two equal hides of zonker. This hide isn't super thick either. So the reason I like the hide thick is because it stiffens the zonker, otherwise it's just gonna be like liquid in the water if it's thin, which isn't terrible, but. So I'm gonna tie in one side, just not using a ton of wraps. And that yellow that I just put in is keeping that zonker from like closing in, because it's gonna do that in the water when you try to put action on it or just put it in the water. The legs are gonna want to just close up. So I have it pretty good right now. So the zonkers are in. So now I could put flash in, or I can go right to the chenille, but obviously I'm gonna put flash in. I'm gonna put gold flash in. I have it right here. Gold enough. It's like chartreuse, but whatever. Take a strand of that, cut it in half, tie it in. We're gonna fold it over. So each side is gonna have two strands of this like gold chartreuse colored chenille. And I can trim those right now so that they don't extend past the bucktail or the deer hair. Same shit. It actually looks a lot cooler. So now I had to figure out what the hell I'm gonna do with the chenille. Then I have the fettuccine legs that I'm gonna put on this somehow. I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do with that. We'll figure it out. So this stuff is very, very, like, it's crazy. It's really crazy. I'm just gonna cut off what I think is gonna go across the entire jig, and we're gonna go from there. And if it's not, we'll make it work somehow. So I have a chunk of the chenille. We're gonna tie it in towards the end here. We're gonna fold it over and tie that in, so I know this is not gonna move. This is gonna be tough. And then I'm gonna knot that down. So with the legs, I'm thinking I'm gonna just use the chenille like a dubbing loop and wrap it. But to get these legs in, I'm going to have to do them in sections, tie in legs, another section, tie in legs, and this is not a lot of, this is like a ½ inch of space left. So let's just pull out one of these things. Kind of cool. I don't know how the hell I'm gonna put this in here. Interesting. I'm gonna cut this in half because they're long. So I could either tie it in like this and like have these folded out. I don't know. I have an idea. I'm just gonna cut this into 4 pieces and have them all tied in so the tips are just facing the claws. Yep. But first I want to wrap at least a little bit of this. So let's see how the hell this works out. There's a lot of stuff like spread everywhere, so it's kind of tough to watch. Yeah, I'm gonna have to wrap at the same time I'm tying the legs in. So let's just tie a leg in here. So I'm gonna fold the leg over and tie the folded end in. This is crazy. So I know it's not gonna move, and I'm actually gonna trim a little bit of that tag end of that foam off. It's gonna look kind of like overkill. It's gonna be tough with that chenille there. But anyways, next one. So I think the legs are in there fine. They're not going anywhere. That's tough though. I might have to just back off of it and tie a knot. And come back. All right, so I have this like obnoxiously long chenille going on. The legs aren't moving around, which is good. So I'm gonna do a couple more wraps with this chenille, and then I'm going to put 2 more legs in. So right now I feel like the chenille is gonna probably cover the legs up a lot, but that's just, I guess, part of this experiment. My dog's begging me to do something with them. Okay. So another couple wraps with the chenille. I'm gonna try to clip it down just to get the stuff out of the way. So now I can put another 2 legs in of this foam. Shit's crazy. So 1 leg is in, not gonna move. Here's another leg. I'll just cut the length of the legs once it's all like done. This is pretty advanced for me, at least. It definitely doesn't take this much effort to put into a jig and have it be okay. I could just tie a black jig. I could just tie black silicone on this and it probably would be a better jig than this, but whatever. It looks cool. So I'm gonna tie or cut the length of both of the foam legs, or all 4 of the foam legs. So you're gonna be able to see the legs at least, so that's kind of a good thing. Now I could finish the wrapping of the chenille and hope the length that I chose works. And this is also gonna be a weedless jig. So I think the length is pretty good. It's gonna look really poofy, but it's gonna look really dirty looking with all those like strands going out everywhere. All right. So my initial thoughts are these legs are, or the chenille legs are very long. So So it's good that I use this size of a jig. And then I'm going to just tie up kind of like 1/8 of an inch end here, so I have room to put something else if I wanted to. But that thing is really poofy looking right now. But there's 2 legs sticking out of it, but it's all right. So I don't know what I could add to the tip of this to make the jig look better. I could put silicone on it, and I probably might just put like a couple strands of silicone in there. Find like a decent color to use. I'll choose this. So this is brown with orange glitter in it. I'm just gonna take 2 strands and I'm gonna tie it in. 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock. I'm gonna call that good. I'm gonna knot it. There's a lot of this chenille just everywhere. All right, so I am done with this one pretty much. I'm gonna cut the thread. I'm gonna Sally Hansen it, then I'm gonna shorten the silicone. It's also really weird tying jigs in like dead silence with like no music or something. If I had music, I'd probably get muted. So I'm gonna cut the silicone to probably the length of the deer hair I started with. Same with this one. These could kind of go wherever they want. I don't think there's a reason to really finesse cut it. So I don't have to brush out like the rabbit fur that typically is on there if I did like a zonker body or a dubbing body. Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I wouldn't say it's like my first choice for a jig to use, or if it's worth the time to do it. Don't know where my hemostats went. This is what it ended up looking like. So there's rubber legs in there, but they don't really show up. But I think the rubber legs would look good with a dubbing body. But that chenille is so long and thick. Could have went thinner with it, but they're really long. But that would look pretty cool in the water at least. You could see like the flash, the chartreuse flash really adds a lot for being like 4 strands. So this will have a weed guard. Super weird. But yeah, that's the one of one. Call that the one of one. Jig Squad, what's up? So yeah, the brown zonkers, the weird flexi chenille, chartreuse flash. So this will get weed guards later, so I'll set this aside. We're probably like in like the $30-$35 range for this box so far. So we're doing a giveaway if you just joined. The giveaway is gonna have this crosshair jig that I made at a earlier date. This jig that I just made. This is the one of one jig because we spun the wheel and got one of one. There's gonna be these two hybrid 2-aught sickle hook football heads, weedless, in the box. The hybrid jig from this stream that I need to put weed guards in, but we got the 2-aught heavy wire with the brown bucktail and the finesse cut pumpkin, green pumpkin, flash. or flash silicone finesse cut. In the beginning of the stream, I tied this fox hair jig that will be in there. This is a non-weedless 1/8 ounce football jig with a bait keeper on it. So we need 3 winners before I could end the stream. So someone's got to hit a mystery box because the merch has been won already. So honestly, I kind of don't want a one of one jig again. I don't want a hybrid jig again. So let's see what we get. Let's see what we get. Watch, it does it to me. A hybrid jig again. All right, we can make something different. So we made a hybrid football jig before. I think I'm going to use this. This is like a powder blue with green pumpkin, like camo kind of style. And we'll make a hybrid jig of this. So that way it won't feel so similar to the first one we did. So this is like a 1/4 ounce and it has a 3/0 heavy wire owner hook in it. So this is like that Arky TK jig that has the owner hook in it. 3/0, yeah. That's a crazy hook. Anyways. So this one shouldn't take very long. Not as long as that last one was. Imagine the next 2 spins I get one of one jigs again. So I'm going to tie a bait keeper in here, and I'm thinking it has to have green pumpkin on it somewhere. Bait keeper. So I'm going to do the same thing and grab like a thumb width amount of 30-pound mono, fold that in half. Your length is perfect. I should have did like, if I land on yellow, I have to like do something embarrassing, like eat like a raw egg if I hit yellow. But yeah, so the box also has a pack of Ned heads in it too that I'll throw in there. And then Joel, you won merch. Congratulations. People forget I have merch because it's at like the bottom of my store. Anyways, so I'm gonna end up gluing or Sally Hansening this in. I'm gonna cut the weed or the bait keeper, like jumbling everything I say. So this is going to keep any plastic that you choose to use on there. Pretty much just as I'm making it, I'm just thinking about what I can do to it. I don't think I'm going to use the middle section. I think that would be good to have for like an additional keeper. Use the molded keeper. That'll just be left with the front section, which will add bucktail and silicone too. Because I don't think marabou would look good on a heavier style jig like this. So assuming I'm going to use green pumpkin, yeah, I'm going to use bucktail and not the deer belly hair. This is like a perfect chunk of bucktail, and it's really soft too. But I'm probably gonna grab it off the back. No, I'll grab it off the front in the middle because it's like dark olive, and the back is like green. But maybe we could put green on the bottom. But for now, dark olive is gonna look the best for this jig, I think. If we're talking about like what looks cool and what colors look good together. So I'm not even gonna like change the length of that because it lines up pretty good. And I'm going to trim it to where I think is best. And I'm going to just tie it in. Pretty much tie it in without thinking, and then you spread it out. And you're safe. So since this is kind of like a heavier hook, heavier jig, I'm gonna probably thicken it up a little bit. And then I thought of putting flash in there, so I'll put like light blue flash, I think, in here. So this hair is gonna splay out the closer you are to like this barred like section thing. The molded section will actually like push the hair out. Sometimes it could be good, sometimes it doesn't look the best. So we're gonna put light olive on the bottom and hope that looks cool. I think it will. So here we go. And this one I do want to change the length of these. I could use a hair stacker, but like, ain't that serious. Not that serious. Okay, so the lengths, the tips are fine. And I'm going to line them up with these tips and trim it to the same length as the previous chunk. Tie it in and then spread it out, and it's going to fill that bottom half of this jig. And it's actually like thicker than the top, so I kind of want to push it closer to the head. I snug it down hard so that hair stays in place. Because you don't want this hair to pull out. Yeah. So I do like that so far. So I'm thinking, if I put silicone on this now, I think it would look weird, honestly. So I think I'm actually gonna put more bucktail on it. Or maybe I'll put silicone and then more bucktail, but I think it needs more bucktail. It'll be like a bucktail jig with some silicone in there. See you, Joel. I'll get a hold of you. Yeah. So, I'm thinking, I gotta pick something cool. I have this like dark watermelon color, but I don't like the look of it. Let's do something close to green pumpkin would be nice. Just straight green pumpkin. It's kind of light. Here is dark green pumpkin with blue flake. Let's try that. Yup. So I think I'm gonna use, I might just use this whole tab. Yeah, I'm gonna use the whole tab and then I'm gonna put more bucktail on and then I'm calling that good. That is gonna be the end of it. Then I'll have to just figure out the length of the silicone. Just basically have to wing it. Figure out what you like. So I want to tie this kind of away from the head because I feel like I need space later for more bucktail. Yep. So just spread it out so it's even across the whole thing. That's a ton of freaking silicone. I want to snug it down. Yep. So that's what I was talking about, where it could snap if it is rotating in there, but I've had that happen a lot and I've stabbed myself a lot doing that. So that's why I didn't flinch at all. It's like part of it. It's also like part of tying like 4-aught hooks in this vise. But anyways, we're safe. So that is a lot of silicone. So I might change my mind again. And keep this side tied away. And then this side will be trimmed, and then I'll add bucktail in between them. It's probably my best option right now. My dog's going crazy. So I'm gonna cut some of it at like the tip of the hook, some of it in the middle, and some of it long. Not that like thinning it out makes that big of a difference, but just keeps them all from being the same length. So that is that. So I'm gonna tie bucktail in, and then I'm probably gonna just finesse cut the front of it. I want to use dark and light again. Yep. So now we're using a lot of material. It's really thickening up in the tie area. So you have to be careful to not slide your thread to the lower areas. Otherwise your whole jig was basically ruined. I mean, you can still fish with it, but it would just look stupid. So I have my dark olive in there. Every time you like snug down, it's gonna rotate the hair too. So you have to keep that in mind. Not a deal breaker. So I tied in like a curl of the silicone, so I'm actually gonna cut that out. And this light bucktail I'll tie in next. I don't think I'm gonna put flash in it. Feeling content. So I do care about the length. I guess the light green is a lot different than the dark green. There's a lot of different lengths. Yeah. So make sure that covers the whole bottom and meets the dark. And this does. Just super, super thick right now. But I think we made it work. Yep. I think it turned out pretty good. So I'm cool with that. The wraps look pretty good. Then I'll Sally Hansen it. Then I'll probably change my mind again on how I want to cut the front part. Now I feel like it might look good if I have the front silicone longer. Let's see. So basically it would look like this. And it doesn't look terrible actually. So I think I'm gonna keep it more long than finesse cut. So I'm gonna do probably half of it long length. And the other half just a little bit shorter than that. Long and short. So this one's done, needs a weed guard still, but this is a different way of doing a hybrid style jig. So you can see that like some of them are longer. I'll kind of cut those shorter, the longer ones. So if it's just chilling out like this, there's the length of the silicone on it. There's 2 layers of bucktail in there still on a 1/4 ounce jig, so it's a beefy jig, and you could put a trailer on it too if you wanted like crawl legs on there. It would look really good. So this one will go into the box as well. I'll have to set it aside for a lead guard. I think I have 3 now that I have to do a lead guard for. We're at like 7 jigs already. How's it going, dude? It's been like 2 years since I've been live. Pretty crazy. Definitely doesn't feel like it, but apparently I've been slacking on content. So I'm gonna put this chenille away because that's kind of intense, but I'm glad that we tried it. These fettuccine legs though, we might have room for it. Catching any fish? I haven't been fishing in like 2 weeks. Just been doing dad stuff, music stuff, and it's been raining a lot. So we already lost the merch code. You could still win a $25 mystery box, but I don't know how long has the stream been going on. We might go until 7:30, which would be maybe 1 or 2. Let's do 1 or 2 depending on what they are, and then we'll give the box away. What is this? Another hybrid jig? We're spinning it again because we did 2 of them already. Oh, I cheat. If it's hybrid jig again, we'll just a bucktail jig. Okay. So we've been using a lot of bucktail so far, but we can do a different style. So I'm gonna do, this is a pumpkin brown with brown. This is just a round ball head. This is a 1/4 ounce with a 3/0 owner hook. So we'll make a bucktail jig off of this instead of like a football head or turkey head. And I do need to open the hook eye up a little bit. So I use an X-Acto knife and just twist it in there. It is smooth and it's not gonna like cut your line. So this is good. So I'm gonna try to make a fluffy kind of bucktail jig with this. I don't know if I want to put a bait keeper on this. I guess I will, just to do it, in case you wanted to put a trailer on here. I'm thinking like using, I don't know, would white look good? If I had like a natural, there we go, maybe use this, it's like a tan, I might use that for this. See how it looks. And I might just, I don't know what I want to do. It changes. Every second changes. Like I might use both sections to tie just to have like a thicker jig. But we'll see. So I feel like if we just had bucktail coming off the front, it would look kind of weird. Let's Let's do both sections. Two sections of that bucktail. We'll see. I might do that lighter color that I just showed and then do a darker color on top of that. Yeah. It's a safe risk, I think. This color. It won't be so bright if there's like a darker color going over top. And this one I'm not gonna like change the lengths of the tips because the lengths of the hair is short as it is, and I don't really think it matters. I have one daughter. Single dad life. Except like those super long ones, I'll just pull those out. Yeah. So I wish this was longer. So I'm gonna try to use as much of it as I can. I got my kid like a badass setup. She has like a $20 rod, but she has like Power Pro and FC Sniper Leader on her rod, and she has like one of my Ned heads on there with like an OSP craw. She's got a killer setup for a 4-year-old. So yeah, I'm gonna do that again. Yeah, I think a darker color would look better. Next. My dog is like being impatient. Took him for a walk though. I took him for a walk before the stream just because I knew he would do this. Okay. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, I fed you and I took you for a walk, bud. Might have to take a break. Maybe this might be my last one, and I could go tend to him. And maybe we'll do another Wheel of Destiny stream. So I do want to use a flatter right here. This guy. That's gonna be it. I wish I had lighter. Also, if I used the dark part of this olive, it would look pretty good too. I might do that. Just because this is so straight and thin, and it looks kind of weird. Yeah. Yep. We're gonna do the darker part of the light olive bucktail. We'll see how that works. I'm gonna even the hairs out because they're kind of all over the place. I just kind of ballpark it. Yeah, this is gonna look pretty cool. Brown and olive look good together. So, the lucky person that wins all of this basically just has to be here at the end of the stream. And I'll just have you pick a number. Whoever hits the number wins like a $50 mystery box. That's not a mystery box. It's everything I tied today, but I don't think I'll be giving out the red mystery box this stream. I was thinking I might, like, I was gonna do all of them tonight, but I don't think it's gonna happen. I was gonna give away merch, give away a box, and then give away the stream box. But it's okay if I don't have to make a mystery box. Right. I like it. It probably would have looked good with brown thread too. So now I could either add flash or just stop. I don't have any, like, well, I have everything. I have another idea. I'm gonna do a dubbing loop on the collar. Just because I thought about it. It's gonna be kind of like, I don't know, mix of golden and dark brown. Put some wax on here, just because I saw some dubbing laying around. Put this up here. This is like shiny gold shit. Do I want it shiny? Yeah, so this is mixed with like dark hairs in it too. So I think that would look cool. Yep, we're doing it. We won't need a lot of it because we're not covering a lot. Then we'll comb it like into the hair. I might need more than this. No, we're good. We'll make it work, and typically that is how I do everything. So we're gonna wrap it. So you can wrap like thinner and thicker. It's like a thing I've noticed. So I've wrapped too thick and have not liked the way it looked. And I've wrapped too thin where I could see the thread underneath, and I don't like that. So we're done. I'm not even gonna put Sally Hansen on this. I'm not trying to like gum up all this hair. Cut the loop. So I'm gonna brush the like excess hair out. If there's any loose hairs, that'll come out. This looks cooler than any of the other jigs I think I made. It looks really natural. And I honestly kind of got a little thin, but it looks good. Just throw the extra away. So, I don't have to put a weed guard in it, so that's good. So we went with like we did the Baykeeper, we did the light bucktail, then we did like the olive bucktail, then we did a collar of dubbing and blended that in. So that's a different way of doing a bucktail jig. Simple ball head, pretty cool. So yeah, I think I'm gonna just end it, but we're gonna give it away obviously. But we did the bucktail jig. This is a good giveaway. This is legit. You get this hybrid jig. You get this crosshair jig. The fox hair one I tied at the beginning. And another hybrid jig that I made previously to this. And this finesse cut hybrid jig that I need to put weed guard in. This other hybrid jig, Arky style, that I tied last. And this crazy, aren't you lucky? You get this crazy like puffball chenille flexy puffy thing. So you could also trim these legs if you don't like them, but I kind of like them like that. But yeah, that chenille really bulks up fast. So that's gonna be the giveaway. So one of you people will win it. That is a 3/8. Looks like a 3/8 with the 90-degree 3/0 owner. Yep. Yeah, 3/8. Yeah. It looks pretty cool. It also has those like noodle foam things coming out of it, but they're not easy to see unless you look close. So yeah, if you could think of the number that I'm thinking of, 1 through 10, you win like all of that. And then I can clean my workspace. So give me a number 1 through 10. If you hit this, then you win this whole thing. I will kind of set aside the ones I have to work on yet. I could probably just epoxy all these tonight, but yeah, no big deal. 6 wins. That was the number. Sorry, guys. Yeah, 6. Congrats. I should have wrote it down to prove to you, but yeah. We have Ned heads as well going in the box. So it's a legit box. It's probably like a $60, $70 box there. But yeah, I'm thinking maybe sometime, maybe when my dog's like chilled out, we could do another one. Do another wheel. Or if you have any ideas of what I could put on the wheel. I just tried to put different things that I could do. I had 10 different things I could do. So, but yeah, I'll get a hold of you guys and get your address and all that stuff. And then, yeah, thanks for coming by. It's been a long time, but hopefully more soon. I'll have to think of something cool. But yeah, appreciate you stopping by. Catch you next time.